Hello and welcome to Winchester News Online. I'm Jamie O'Sullivan. Today's top stories. It's been 100 years since Stanmore first opened. What the King's speech means for politics in Hampshire. And we speak to an award-winning service dog. Today, MPs from Hampshire and the South have headed up to Westminster for the King's speech. The King outlined what the government plans to achieve over the next year, but what impact will it have on the constituencies in Hampshire? Our political correspondent Harry Jewell explains.
Today is one of the last chances for the Prime Minister to sell his vision ahead of the general election. Rishi Sunak will be announcing laws that he hopes will be enough to convince people in marginal seats like Southampton Itchen to stick with the Tories. The constituency has a history of regularly switching parties. Since 2010, the sitting MP has never enjoyed a majority of more than 5,000 votes. Darren Paffey, Labour's candidate for the constituency, was optimistic about his party's chances of success in Southampton Itchen.
But we are hopeful. We're certainly hopeful from what we're hearing on the doorstep, which is a lot of support, a lot of people who are fed up with the way things are going and how the country has been going. And obviously Labour has been on a bit of a journey. At the last general election, we had one of our worst performances since the early part of last century. To now be in a position where in just 4 or so years, people are trusting us once again and putting their faith in us to be able to turn the country round from where it is at the moment is an enormous achievement. But for that reason, we take nothing for granted. And I'm out every single week listening to people, talking to people, putting the case for why we would love to see Itchen with a Labour MP once again and the country with a Labour government.
Royston Smith has held the seat for the Conservatives since 2015, but he's standing down, and a new candidate will be responsible for defending a narrow majority of less than 5,000 votes. Much like many other urban seats in Hampshire, Southampton Itchen is at risk of changing parties, which would change Britain's political map.
Today marks 100 years since a former king opened the flagship Winchester City Council estate, Stanmore. This tree was planted by the then Prince of Wales, Edward, who later became king and was the only British king in history to abdicate the throne in order to marry Wallis Simpson. The estate was coined the most sought after in Winchester due to having both front and back gardens, and even brought in foreign visitors to see how they could replicate it. A Japanese restaurant in Winchester has relocated to a new area after 11 years of business. But not just as a restaurant. It's opened its new hotel rooms after delays. But why a hotel? Alexander Stapleton reports.
Kyot Kitchen, a popular Japanese fine dining restaurant in Winchester, has finally opened its well-awaited hotel rooms after facing delays which put the opening on hold. After moving from their small location of 11 years in Parchment Street, the establishment moved to Bridge Street House in July after the closing of the pub on May 5th. Miff Kyot, the owner of the business, took to the company's Facebook page to announce the move to their followers.
Afternoon everybody, so it is now official. After 11 years of operating out of Parchment Street, Winchester, Kyot Kitchen will be moving to number 5 Bridge Street, or Bridge Street House as it's known.
Mr. Kyot kept his customers up to date with everything that was going on, as well as the developments of the rebuild of the restaurant, due to how old the building was. I met with Mr. Kyot to discuss it.
Relocating here, I think I totally underestimated the scale of the project and the condition of the building.
Although the developments were running smoothly, Mr. Kyot revealed that the rooms have been delayed in opening due to fire escape concerns. He stated that the solution to the problem was that he had to lose his beautiful timber slatted frame to replace it with a firewall. After the many challenges Mr. Kyot had faced, he was pleased to announce the opening of the rooms on the 24th of October. The rooms were designed with Japanese decor, very similar to that of the restaurant itself. If you're ever in Winchester and you fancy some Japanese cuisine, maybe you should come on down to Kyot Kitchen to immerse yourself in some of the Japanese culture and decor, or just some nice food. This was Alexander Stapleton, WINOL News Online.
With the start of November comes Movember, when men's mental health takes centre stage. Guys from all over the region try to grow a moustache as best they can, in aid of charity. Jacob Rayner explains what's happening around Hampshire.
We're a week into Movember, and here in Winchester, lots of organisations and people are getting involved at the university. Societies such as rugby, cricket, snow sports, netball and futsal have started their own fundraising events. And Hampshire businesses are also doing what they can to raise money. For example, Bond's barbershops across the county have all been putting in a joint effort to raise as much as possible for the charity. Their main event being a Magnum PI themed party on November 30th. They aim to raise at least £1,000 and they've reached £100 so far. As well as hosting a couple shave-offs directly before and after November. There's a lot more time for these fundraisers to grow alongside the participants' beards. So if you're feeling generous, help out men's mental health and those suffering with cancer.
And finally, the university's most popular four-legged friend has had her important work recognised with a very special award. Elliot McVie reports.
Jess Green works as a PA at the University of Winchester. She suffers from a number of difficulties, which means she requires the assistance of a service dog, a very good girl called Darcy.
So this is Darcy. She's a 4-year-old retriever. I've got daily migraines, like chronic pain issues and chronic fatigue. So she will help me with that. So if I've got a migraine, she'll go fetch my medication. She can fetch help for me if I need it. She will pick things up for me to stop me having to bend down repeatedly. She will, if I lose, like say I lose my phone or something like that, she'll go get it for me. She basically just reduces the amount of energy I have to use every day so I can live my life outside of that, basically. So she just gives me a bit more independence rather than asking a person to have to do it all the time, which is a bit, you know.
Darcy has been given the title Morale Officer within her department, and her hard work certainly hasn't gone unnoticed. She has been officially named Service Dog of the Year in the 2023 Canine Awards run by pet food company Benefits Natural. The award was judged by an expert panel before the final decision was made by an online public vote.
So she qualified last September, and it's really nice that she's got the recognition that she deserves. She's a really good girl, super easy to train, and she's changed my life, so it's really nice that other people recognise that as well.
So that's one award Darcy can add to the trophy cabinet, setting a fine example to service dogs around the country. Elliot McVie, Winchester News Online.
That's all we've got time for. Thanks for watching and see you next week.